Okay, I'm with former sharpshooter Dave Puckett. Dave, delighted to have you back, particularly on a special day like today.
Yeah, it's always very nice to be invited back to this football club. I have some very, very happy memories of my time here. It was the late 80s, early 90s. I've been fortunate to have been invited back on a few occasions, but no more is going to be important as this one. And it's, I feel very honoured to be one of the players asked to come back to support Frank on a 100th birthday. It's a great occasion. Pleased to be here.
A little bird tells me you're still playing.
I know, yeah, you're right. I would have had a game today. That was called off, as this one has been. I live in Southampton. I play in the local Wessex Premier League. I've done a bit of coaching for a team in there, Tottenham Ealing, and as always in the non-league, you sign a form in case you're needed, and I've been needed on about 12 occasions and still playing and loving every minute of it.
Now, you'll be familiar from your time here of some of the difficulties that a club like Aldershot has, and indeed from your time here. I think you were here just before the club folded.
Yes.
So presumably keeping an eye on what's been happening over the last year or so. How do you feel about the club's re-emergence and your own kind of memories from that time, maybe?
Yeah, the memories from that time when I joined in '89, my first paycheck bounced, so that sort of told me the writing was on the wall. But I stayed for the 3.5, nearly 4 years, and was here right up until 2 weeks before the club actually did fold for the first time in the Football League. I actually got a move to Bournemouth with Harry Redknapp again, so I was a fortunate player, had no choice but to take that move and was pleased with it, but obviously disappointed with the Aldershots, the fact that they went out of the business then. Delighted that they came back, delighted that they've obviously followed them, disappointed that they had problems recently, but again, we're always going to survive. I know that. This is going to be a team back on the up.
And then just back to today, as a seasoned professional, what does it mean to you to know that there are people like Frank Burt at 100 years old, still football club means everything to him?
It really is incredible. It's hard to put into words, to know when he first came to see games. I believe it's 1926-27. That is incredible. My dad's 86 and was born in that year. And he's a football man himself, and still watching football. But to have a chap here at 100, and this has been his club. That is what this club's about. That's why you've got to keep this club going, because of the true supporters, and you can't get any more loyal than that.
Thank you, Dave.
Mate, great start. Before we get going, Alex, could I just thank personally all the staff that have been up here early this morning, and Alex has been phoning around everybody due to the game cancellation, and all these staff and Alex Landry pulled out the stops here. She's just picked up a potato that's on the stop on the floor, actually, by the way, discreetly. Alex, Clark and Clark's, thank you very much for all the staff. Thank you. Thank you. The food is absolutely superb. 10 seconds. Now, Frank, for you, for your birthday, we've got a little surprise, a little bit lastminute.com, if I may say. But we've got the Aldershot ladies, military wives, to come up and sing you a couple of songs and wish you a happy birthday. So could we invite these young ladies in, please? Let's do that. You want to do that?
In honour of Frank, the girls are going to sing the traditional FA Cup final hymn, Abide With Me.
Comfort
birthday, Frank. Happy birthday. Well done. Please, can we give a big round of applause just for that? These ladies give it all their time to come and wish you happy birthday, Frank. How kind is that? Are you doing more? That's it? No, that's it. That's the songs. I've just not killed you there, have I? I've got 5 songs to do. We're off! Give a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Right, we're going to now move on to our second course. It's a low-fat trifle for you, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy, and we've got a few more presentations to do in a minute. Thank you very much. Well done, Frank. Well done.
So we're here with Frank Burt, celebrating his 100th birthday. He's with his favourite ever Aldershot player, Mr. Ben Hurd. And we've also got Harrison in the picture as well, Ben's son. Ben, if I could ask you, so Frank's been coming a fair old time to football. We interviewed him recently and he came up with 3 of his favourite players of the whole of his time supporting Aldershot, but his number 1 was you. How does that feel?
Very humbling, to be honest with you. I can only think he's seen some bad players over the years, but no, it's very kind. I've known Frank, since I pretty much came here 4 years ago. So it's a special occasion, really, and it's very nice. He's nominated me to be his favourite player, but it's just great to be here for him, really, and join in the celebrations of his 100th birthday.
One of the things I think, one of the reasons that the Aldershot town supporters took you to their heart is not only was it clear on the pitch that you cared for the club, but you did have time and you would go over and see young supporters. You would come up here, you would talk to people like Frank. What do you feel about your relationship with Aldershot Town? Because last year, difficult ending, but you have had some cracking times here.
Yeah, it's such a shame, really, the way it ended on and off the pitch. It's soured somewhat my experience here, really, because previous to that, I'd probably say the 3 years previous to the last season was amazing, and it was a fantastic experience, and it's something that will live with me forever and ever, really, to be honest with you. I had a great affinity with the place, with the fans especially, and but when you say things like mixing with fans, having the time of day, and things like that, I don't really take that as a compliment, really, because I think that's just something that players should do. I think it's just a basic, as any human being really should do. They should have manners, and they should have the time to spare people, however long they want to ask you a question or something. I mean, you've got to remember that these people pay your wages effectively, so I don't really see it as a great honour or a great anything to do like that. I just see it as a basic form of communication, and also just knowing your place and where you are, and I'm upholding that sort of I suppose that pedestal that fans put you on, really. I mean, you have to remember that these are ordinary working people that come and watch you, and if someone asks you to do something, I mean, if it's a reasonable request, I don't really understand why you wouldn't do it, really. So I think that's where modern footballers maybe get a little bit lost these days.
Do you think the fact, so your connectivity maybe what we're talking about here, do you think the fact that you are a football fan, and that if you have a spare afternoon you'd go and watch football, do you think you understand the mind of a football fan better, perhaps?
Perhaps, yeah. I was lucky enough. Some footballers aren't probably lucky enough to have an upbringing where they go to football. As crazy as it sounds, I used to go to, obviously, as you probably know, Tottenham every week. I've still got a season ticket there now, so whenever I can, I will go and watch Tottenham. And first and foremost, I'm a football fan, because that's what got me involved in the game. It's a game we love. You don't do it for money, you don't do it for prestige, you don't do it for anything, the trappings or anything like that. You do it first and foremost because you love doing what you do. And maybe that's where some players maybe get lost, because they haven't had that upbringing in terms of going to football matches and appreciating. I always give a good example of Stefan Freund at Tottenham. Not by nowhere near the most gifted player or anything like that, but the fans absolutely love him because he'd like you say, connect with the fans, and he'd give everything on the pitch as standard, really, in my opinion. But he'd have that sort of a little bit of affinity with the fans, and you could connect with him a little bit. And I just don't see how players shouldn't do more of that, to be honest.
Finally, Ben, you will be remembered in history as captain of Aldershot Town Football Club, and also the player that led out the team for possibly one of the most famous matches that'll ever be played here, when we played Aldershot in the League Cup. Do you remember those times with pride?
Actually say that it's I get like goose pimples going down my spine really. It's nice to reflect on the good times for me as captain, and that is something that no one can take away really. It was a fantastic achievement in getting Man United to play here and everything like that. But even still now, I look back and think we didn't really do ourselves enough credit. I mean, people will say, you done okay, it's 3-0, you kept the scoreline flattering, but I just feel that we didn't really give them enough of a shot and didn't really get amongst them as much as we probably could have. But looking back now, a great occasion, and it's a fantastic part of history for the football club.
And finally, will we see you popping up now and then, come down to see the club, keeping in touch? Would love that.
Yeah, listen, I always have a part of me connected with Aldershot. I mean, that's for life now, and hopefully, you never know, one day to come back and play would be a great thing. But like I say, I've been with you to watch a game here before, and when we watched Luton here. So I've still got friends here and some ex-players that I still keep in touch with. So it's more than a club sometimes. It really does affect your whole sort of being and the rest of your life. Really, you always can have that sort of connection with the club. So hopefully, it's something that will continue to be a part of me.
Thank you, Ben.